You ever notice something strange? The person who gives you the least attention somehow takes up the most space in your mind. Not the one who texts you constantly, not the one who shows up clearly, but the one who is unpredictable and distant and just out of reach. And it doesn't make sense at all, because logically attraction should work the other way. You should feel drawn to someone who chooses you, who responds, who says. But that's not always what happens. Instead, your mind keeps going back to the ones who didn't. The one who replied late, the one who disappeared for no clear reason, the one who gave just enough and then pulled away. And without realizing it, you start thinking about them more than anyone else. This is not random, and it's not weakness either. There is a specific reason your brain does this. Your brain is designed to solve this. It's like patterns. It's like clarity. It's like knowing what something means. So when something is incomplete, when something doesn't fully make sense, your brain doesn't relax. It leans in. That's exactly what happens when someone ignores you. They didn't give you a clear ending. They don't give you a clear reason. They don't give you closure. And because of that, your brain keeps the loop open. You start asking questions you wouldn't normally ask. Did I say something wrong? Were they ever interested? Did something change? Should I text again or wait? And here's the important part. Every time you ask of those questions, your attention goes back to them. That's the first shift. Attraction doesn't always start with emotion. Sometimes it starts with attention. The more you think about something, the more familiar it becomes. And the more familiar something becomes, the more real it feels. And when something feels real, it starts to feel important. So now, it's not just a person anymore. It's a thought pattern. And that pattern keeps repeating. You wake up, you don't think about them much. You get busy, distracted, involved in other things. But there are small moments when you check your phone, when you are alone, when something reminds you them often, and your mind goes back, not because they did something new, but because the loop was never closed. And this is where it gets interesting. The less consistent they are, the stronger this loop becomes. If someone gives you attention all the time, your brain gets used to it. There is no uncertainty, there is no guessing, there is no tension. But when someone responds sometimes and disappears other times, your brain pays more attention. Because now it's not predictable, and unpredictability is one of the strongest ways to keep your brain engaged. Think about it like this. If your phone never lights up, you stop checking it. If it always lights up, you expect it. But if it lights up randomly, sometimes yes, sometimes no, you keep checking. Not because you enjoy it, but because you might get something. That might is powerful, and that's exactly what keeps you attached to someone who ignores you. You are not always chasing the person, you are chasing the possibility of them. The version of them that replaces, the version of them that shows interest, the version of them that feels close. And because that version appears sometimes, your brain holds onto it, even if it's not consistent, even if it's rare. Now there is another layer to this. When someone doesn't fully show who they are, your mind fills in the blanks. You don't have enough information, so you create it. You assume their intentions. You imagine their thoughts. You build a version of them in your head. And here's the catch. That version is often better than reality, more interesting, more meaningful, more connected to you. So now you are not reacting to who they actually are. You are reacting to what your mind created. And that's why the feeling can grow even when the person does very little. This becomes even stronger at night, not because anything changes, but because your environment does. At night there is less noise, less distraction, less movement. And when everything around you slows down, your thought speeds up. The thing you ignored during the day comes back at night, especially unfinished things. That message you didn't get, that reply that never came, that moment that didn't make sense. Your mind goes back to it, not once, but repeatedly. And every time it loops, the feelings get reinforced, not because something new happened, but because you revisited it. This is how something small turns into something intense. After a point, it doesn't even feel like a random thought anymore. It feels personal. You start connecting it to yourself. Why am I feeling this? Why does this affect me? Why can't I just ignore them back? And now it's not just about them, it's about you. And this is where the most people misunderstand what's happening. They think, I must really like this person. But sometimes what you are experiencing isn't deep attraction. It's repeated mental engagement. You didn't fall for them instantly. You thought about them repeatedly, and those thoughts turn into feeling. The more you think about something, the more emotionally charged it becomes. A neutral moment becomes meaningful. A small interaction becomes important. And suddenly you feel connected. But step back for a second. If they stop being inconsistent, if they become predictable, would the feeling stay the same, or would it slowly fade? Because what you are responding to may not be who they are, but how they make your mind behave. And once you see that, everything starts to shift. Think about your own experience again, not the person, but the pattern. When did it start? Was it after they become distant? Was it after something became unclear? That's usually the moment the loop begins. Not at connection, but at confusion. Not everyone reacts to the inconsistency the same way. Some people lose interest quickly, others feel pulled in even more. And the difference often comes from something deeper, something you don't consciously think about. Your attachment pattern. The way your mind learns to respond to connection, attention, and distance. If you are used to consistency, you expect it, and when it's not there, you step back. But if you are used to inconsistency even slightly, distance doesn't always push you away. Sometimes it pulls you closer because it feels familiar. This is subtle but powerful. Your brain doesn't always choose what's best for you. It chooses what it recognizes. Even if the pattern is frustrating, even if it's confusing, if it feels familiar, you feel right. So when someone gives you mixed signals, a part of your mind says, I have been here before. And instead of walking away, you stay engaged. Now let's go one layer deeper. When someone ignores you, they take away something important. Attention. And attention isn't just a small thing, it's a form of validation. It tells you are seen, you matter, you exist in someone else's world. So when that attention is inconsistent, you don't just miss the person, you start wanting that validation. You want the reply, the message, the sign that you still matter to them. And this is where your ego quietly steps in. Because now it's not just about connection, it becomes a question. Why are they not choosing me consistently? And your mind doesn't like that question because it creates tension. So what does it try to do? Resolve it. You start thinking, maybe if I say something better, maybe if I act differently, maybe if I understand them more. Without realizing it, you are trying to earn something that should have been given naturally. And the more you try to earn it, the more valuable it starts to feel. This is why almost a relationship feels so intense. Because they never fully form, but they never fully end either. There is no clear beginning, no clear ending, just moments. Small conversations, small connections, small sign of something more, followed by silence. And that silence doesn't close the story, it extends it. Your mind keeps waiting what didn't happen. But notice something important here. Most of what you're attached to hasn't actually happened. It imagined, projected, extended in your mind. And because of that, it feels bigger than it actually is. This is why the feeling can feel deep, even if the connection was shallow. Because depth doesn't always come from reality. Sometimes it comes from a repetition. And slowly, without noticing, the dynamic changes. You start adjusting your behavior. You check your phone more. You think before texting. You replay conversations. And the more you do that, the more power the situation has over you. But here's the part most people don't see. You think you are reacting to them, but a lot of what happening is happening inside in your mind. The loops, the questions, the imagined scenarios, they are being generated internally. The person triggered it, but your mind is sustaining it. And if you pause for a moment, not to think, but to observe, you will notice something. The feeling rises even when nothing new happens. No message, no interaction, no signal, just thought. That's when you start seeing it clearly. This isn't just attraction, it's a loop. And anything that it is a loop can be broken, but not by forcing yourself to stop liking them. That usually doesn't work, because the more you resist a thought, the more it returns. Instead, the shift happens when you understand what actually feeding it. Not the person, but the pattern. Because once you see the pattern fully, you stop chasing the wrong thing. And you start noticing something else, something more honest. The difference between wanting a person and wanting how they make you feel. And that difference changes everything. So now you have seen the pattern, not just what you feel, but how it builds. The attention, the uncertainty, the loops, the need for validation. All of it connecting quietly in the background. And once you see that, something starts to change. Because before this, it felt like the feeling was coming from them. Now you can see it more clearly. They triggered it, but they didn't create all of it. Your mind completed the rest. And when you understand something deeply, you automatically create a little distance from it. Not emotional distance at first, but awareness distance. You start noticing the moments when your mind goes back to them, not getting lost in it, but seeing it happen. And that small shift is where control begins. Because a loop needs one thing to continue: unconscious repetition. The moment you become aware of it, you interrupt it. Not completely, but enough to create space. And in that space, something interesting shows up. You start separating two things that felt the same before: the person and the feeling. And you realize a big part of you, what you were holding on to, wasn't them. It was the feeling they triggered. The tension, the curiosity, the anticipation. That emotional mix can feel very familiar to attraction, but it's not always the same. Real attraction feels different. It's calmer, it's clearer. It doesn't rely on confusion to exist. It grows with consistency, not absence. It builds with presence, not unpredictability. And most importantly, it doesn't make you question your value. Because if something truly sees you, you don't have to chase their attention. You don't have to decode their silence. You don't have to earn clarity, it's already there. But when you understand all this, letting go doesn't happen instantly. And that's normal, because you are not just letting go of a person, you are letting go of a pattern your mind got used to it, a loop that keeps running, a possibility that never fully closed. So instead of forcing yourself to stop thinking, you shift how you respond when the thought appears. When your mind goes back to them, you don't fight it, you notice it, you recognize the pattern. When your mind goes back to them, you don't fight it, you notice it, you recognize the pattern, and slowly it loses intensity. Because now you are not feeding it the same way. You are not adding new what if is. You are not extending the story. You are letting it be incomplete without trying to fix it. And that's uncomfortable at first because your mind wants closure. It wants answers. It wants something solid. But here's the shift. Not every feeling needs closure. Some just need understanding. And once you understand this, something powerful happens. The attraction that once felt intense starts to feel lighter, not because it disappeared instantly, but because you are no longer inside it, you are observing it. And when you think about it now, it starts to make sense. You were pulled in by what was missing, the gaps, the uncertainty, the unfinished story. And your mind tried to complete that story again and again until it felt real. But now you don't need to complete it. You can leave it unfinished and still be at peace. Because not every connection is meant to become something. Some are meant to show you how your mind works, what you respond to, and where your attention goes. When something is left unresolved, and when you see that clearly, you stop chasing what confuses you, and you start recognizing what actually feels right. Not intense, not uncertain, but real.